Guys, this is Jesus Cifuentes. I am the operator and owner of Film Funding Group. I'm here testing a new platform that they have available for Facebook broadcasting, and I definitely wanted to give people a an overview of what this site is and the goals that we're trying to accomplish for 2008. So as of right now, I'm just going to wait for a few minutes to see if anybody logs on and start interacting with members of the group. And feel free to ask any questions concerning film funding. And also just make sure that you guys can hear me correctly, that there's no pops or any drops in the audio or any issues with the broadcast. I would love to interact with you guys, so feel free to ask anything. Dun-dun. Carl, how's it going? How's production going? Wow, this app is really cool. I can highlight comments. I can highlight questions. Yeah, Carl, feel free to ask any questions or just talk about any productions that you're currently working on. Let me test this question. Actually, it's too big. Let me hide that real quick. What is everybody currently working on? Are you guys working on a feature, documentary, short film, web series? Let me. Hey, how's it going, Angela? Angela's currently working on a feature film. We have Carl, who's working on a western entitled Rifle. Do you mind sharing what budget range you guys are working on, or just an estimate, or what your ideal budget would be? And just to let you guys know a little bit about myself, I'm a line producer slash UPM by trade. I've worked on independent films ranging from $75,000 all the way to 2.5 million. And I currently have 5 feature films in distribution. And I would definitely mention that my strongest suit is definitely through the through the distribution route. So Angela is doing Kickstarter. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that I definitely noticed in the group right now. That I would say about 60 to 70% of all the members are doing some kind of crowdfunding campaign. Hi, Marlene. And Carl, you said 6.1 for productions and 2.5 for distribution. Are you? I'm assuming that's in the millions, right? Or are you talking about 6,700? Yeah, and I definitely want to be extremely honest. I think, at least based on my experience, as far as work experience, as I mentioned, the highest I've ever worked on was on a 2.5. Anything over 2.5, the complexity of the financial structure starts becoming very, very complicated. You're talking a combination of pre-sales, maybe hedge funds. Not to say that that's not possible, not to say that that's one of the goals that I'm trying to accomplish this year. But definitely that's a lot of equity. Whether you're still trying to get it through pre-sales, trying to sell some foreign territories, and then you have the complications of gap financing. Pre-sales are actually, it's definitely very heavy on who your director is, on who your talent is, and yeah, but that's definitely something that we definitely want to accomplish sometime this year as well. I'm talking to a couple of sales agents, and as a matter of fact, I just had a conversation a few days ago with a third-party collection agency, and what they do is they work on the foreign distribution side. As far as they're a recruitment company, and as a matter of fact, they're going to be having a workshop on Stage 32, and I'll share it on the page in a bit as well. Anybody that's interested in that model, and start building those relationships with those kind of people that deal with those kind of budgets. Now, Angela says her feature film needs 50K to finish. Now, I definitely want to share. Hold on one second. Angela, I have worked with a filmmaker colleague of mine. I've been his producer on two of his features. I've been the line producer on both of those features as well, and I sold his first feature film, which we sold to Redbox. Now, this filmmaker, he's raised over 100K through crowdfunding, and that's a combination of Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So we're hoping to start working. We're laying out the structure as far as his to offer a course on what got him those 4 successful campaigns, so he can reach his financial goals to shoot his independent films. Now, Angela, do you mind sharing any insight as far as like any insight on your current campaign? Did you guys do any marketing? Did you guys do any promotion? Any get any media coverage on it? And I'm barely glancing at it right now. As a matter of fact, I'm looking to see what kind of attachments you guys might have. Yeah, and I think with crowdfunding, it's definitely a numbers game. That's one of the insights that our director gave us, and one of the main things that he mentioned was how I would say about 70-80% of the people who contributed to the film had no association with the film whatsoever. So that's me. I mean, that's a combination of his colleagues, people. He actually, like when he first launched his first campaign, it was right at the cusp of Kickstarter getting all this international news. So that was a huge selling point for him to have a successful crowdfunding campaign, because he was there at the exact at the right moment. When there was when Kickstarter started getting a lot of national coverage. And obviously, when he completed his successful campaign, and he committed to sending all the perks that he promised to his contributors, obviously he started building a huge a huge database of people who believe in him as a filmmaker. And when his second, third, and fourth campaign came, it was a lot easier to reach that goal as well. Let me see, Angela. Hey, how's it going? I'm going to try to pronounce your name. Mushfika? I hope I pronounced that well. And she's a filmmaker and editor, and she's currently planning to make a couple of short films in India. Really seeking some advice regarding financing my projects. Absolutely. Now, Angela, you mentioned that you have the creator of Final Destination. Is that the screenwriter? Is it the director or one of the actors? Yeah, having a publicity coordinator or somebody to handle publicity is such a huge thing to do it. Such a huge element in as far as your team goes. And Angela, would you say that you've gotten a lot of like web publications, or is it like actual like magazines or newspapers, any TV spots or any interviews, like whether it's local channels? That was actually one of the things that our director did as well. He went to the local TV station in San Antonio, and they gave him a nice little spike in his campaign. Let's see, I'm trying to. Like I said, I'm experimenting with this new platform. It's called Be Live, and it's very cool. Anybody that's interesting. As a matter of fact, obviously, Angela, that one of the things that you most likely, I'm pretty sure it's in your plan already to do daily broadcasting on Facebook. I'm not seeing any hashtags or anywhere that you can. Oh, cool. Jeffrey Reddick. He was the creator and writer for Final Destination. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely wish you enormous success, and it looks like it's set up exactly. Having a name, whether it's the creator of or a screenwriter or an actor in a prominent, successful. Yeah, feel free to share your campaign link. Having anybody that's prominent definitely puts a lot of attention to your project. And yeah, let's be honest, it's a little bit of a name drop, and that's great. We need those elements, right? We're not backed by the studios. We're definitely independent filmmakers. Make sure this is cool. I'm trying to engage with the reactions real quick. Yeah, Angela just shared her campaign, and feel free to check it out, because as a matter of fact, like I said, as of right now, I'm noticing that 70% of the members in this specific group are definitely either promoting a crowdfunding campaign or they're getting ready to promote a crowdfunding campaign. And it's definitely really good insight, researching what other filmmakers are doing, what other perks they're utilizing to encourage people to contribute. Yeah, Final Destination is huge. That was a huge franchise. I think it went to 5 films, I believe. And I'm assuming that Angela, is this the feature that you're working on now? Excuse me, it's called Clown Motel. Is that geared up as well to become a possible franchise, or are there any sequels or spin-offs? Awesome, fantastic. Now, Mushfika, I'm gonna butcher that name for a bit until I lock it down. But you mentioned that you want to do a series of short films in India, and there was this really amazing, and I'll post it in the comments as well. There was this really amazing independent filmmaker who produced a film. He produced it, and he got distribution in India, and this filmmaker made over $1 million doing a self-distributed theatrical release, and it's a fascinating case study on the elements that he did, how he worked with the theater directors of each specific region, and how he was able to collect the money, how was he the stuff that he was doing for promotion, and to have that kind of number on an independent film, specifically because he's an American filmmaker, but he had a lot of ties to India, and when he did his theatrical release in India, to hit those kind of numbers, I mean, even in the States, that's extremely difficult. So I'll definitely post that as well. It's through Film Courage, which I highly recommend. It's a fantastic blog and video interviewee. Excuse me, it's a video blog post as well. And as far as your short films, is it kind of geared more towards like a web series, or they're separated, or are they combined? Like, I mean, do they still live in the same realm? Yeah, well, I mean, there's currently there's a lot of distribution options and aggregators that offer distribution for short films. Now, the international market's a little bit more complex as far as like if you have a successful short film, obviously that has a pre-existing audience, then you can definitely um, approach these aggregators and these distribution companies that specifically focus on short films. And whether or not that translates extremely well, like in the foreign market, that's something that that you're gonna obviously have to experiment with, and obviously build those relationships. The distribution deals that I have done, they've all been domestic, so that means it covers the North American market, which includes Canada, United States, and Mexico. As far as foreign distribution, we're working right now on a feature film that we're trying to get some pre-sales on in the foreign market. So that's definitely going to be a journey that I'm going to be documenting. And obviously I'll be documenting my process and the method that I use to get, investors to commit to the project. Angela, I forgot to ask, are you the director, the writer of this piece, or the producer? Oh, so you're the publicity coordinator. Okay, cool. Joseph Kelly. And Angela, do you mind sharing, as far as the journey? Obviously you guys are just, starting your crowdfunding campaign. You still have 43 days to go. How long it took the script to get to the position that it is at the moment, when you guys were confident in launching a crowdfunding campaign? Hey, Joe, welcome. So Joe completed his feature film in August. Well, let me share some insight, Joe. Depending on your genre, um, I'm gonna demystify something for the community. I mean, you don't need a successful film festival run to get distribution. It's usually, it's usually, but that's definitely based on your genre. Horror does extremely well. Action, thrillers, anything that's in that realm, you really don't need any film festival, any major film festival runs. Obviously, it does help, because you're. I mean, all the big, the first tier film festivals definitely have a sales agents, producer reps, distribution companies, studio representatives attending those markets, and obviously they're looking for new content to buy. Um, I'm actually working on a film in that same Joe. Actually working on a film in that same genre, man, and I'll definitely would love to talk shop to you about that film. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's one of the things that I ended up learning when I was doing the research for the business plan for this feature that I'm working on right now. So is Joe, is your first feature, it's 100% completed, right? You have a trailer, you have a screener that a distribution company can watch, right? Yeah, Angela, that's a very, very important technique to use. And I'm gonna be interviewing a very close friend of mine who's a director. What we did, this we're talking about 9 years ago. We raised, and don't underestimate what you can accomplish with a fundraiser. We had a fundraising, an actual physical fundraising uh, um, platform that we experimented, that we did to raise $5,000 to shoot a proof of concept trailer for a horror film, for a zombie horror film, and the footage came out phenomenal. Obviously, the majority of the budget that we used for the proof of concept trailer we used for special effects, to create the prosthetics for the zombies, and that trailer, that proof of concept trailer, we ended up locking down 150K to shoot the feature. And like I mentioned, and actually that film's already, it got distribution with Chiller TV, which is a horror network. It got UK distribution, and now it's actually on Amazon Prime now. So yeah, so definitely any proof of concepts, any, if you can visually show your investors, your donors from a crowdfunding campaign, like your actual vision, like it's a snippet of what is to come. That's extremely powerful. So Joe is sharing his trailer, and if you don't mind some feedback from the community, I mean, I think that would be a really good opportunity. Let me lower it. I'm gonna mute it for a second. I believe I can share my screen, but I'm experimenting with this new platform right now. Yeah, dude, the characters look really cool. They look pretty quirky, man. So I'm definitely digging it, and I'm gonna have to rewatch it with the audio. But yeah, those are some characters right there. Yeah, this genre does. I have a feeling that's going to definitely do extremely well. And as I mentioned, I have 5 films in distribution right now, and we can discuss that. We can set up a phone call later on, man. Yeah, I have to mute it only because this mic that I'm using is it's pretty sensitive, and I don't want any issues. But yeah, feel free to anybody that's in the community, feel free to watch this trailer. Looks like it's a pretty good laugh. We have this gentleman with showing his belly, which is pretty cool. What's been your general feedback as far as like your colleagues? So you wrote it, you directed it, and you starred in it. Okay, cool, man. Do you mind sharing your budget? Yeah, man, you have to prove people wrong all the time. This is definitely, One of the things that one of the blogs that I'm going to be writing in the next couple of weeks, just to give you an idea of how long it takes to fundraise to get the funding for your film. You know, we're averaging about a year to 2 years, so you're talking about some serious commitment. That's awesome, Joe. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to work with what you have, right? You have to put some kind of deadline, because then it starts reaching. You'll be at a point where you're just, wishful thinking. You know, you're not implementing your craft, and it's a decision that every filmmaker is going to have to make for themselves. Like, if your budget, if your initial budget is at 2 million, and you actually have access to 1 million, are you going to delay that film for another year or two? I mean, that's obviously your decision as a producer and as a filmmaker. But me being a line producer and working on national and regional commercials and feature films, documentaries, short films. I mean, I've seen such a deduction in equipment. Post used to be one of the biggest hurdles that we used to have back in the day, because when I started off, we were still shooting on 35 millimeter. Wow, you shot the whole film on an iPhone. Wow, the footage actually looks pretty decent, man. As far as like it's visible, like show what you got. Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's be. I'm rewatching it right now. So you shot it you shot the total the whole feature film for $4,000. Yeah, audio. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely, even if anything, you want really, really good audio. Yeah, you just bought equipment, right? Some labs, mixer, some a boom, shotgun, or yeah, I love that strategy, Angela. Using either doing it. That's actually how Saws, the the creators of Saws, it started off as a short film, and obviously, if my memory serves correct, it was accepted at a really prestigious horror film festival, and somebody that was somebody, attended that film festival, and now it's I think they're on their eighth Saws movie. So yeah, short films, obviously that's something that shows what you guys can accomplish for on whatever budget range you're shooting at, right? Like if you're shooting a short, if that short was shot for $5,000, but you made it look like 25K, then yeah, that's definitely going to be very powerful to encourage people either to donate or to invest. And Angela, obviously keep in mind that from time to time there's some investors that lurk on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. They might donate $500 to $1,000, but they might have a separate conversation like, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. I like the people that are attached to the project, and obviously you guys have to be open to on top of them contributing to Kickstarter or Indiegogo, that they still might be interested in actually investing. Yeah, I can't wait to watch some of this stuff, Angela. Because this is my first live broadcast, and this is my first time using this program, but I really, really enjoy it so far. I really love talking to other filmmakers. Yeah, I'm looking at the footage right now for Clown Motel, and it's top notch. Look at that production value right there. Look at that set. I definitely encourage people to watch this because it looks really top notch. Yeah, you can't beat production value like that. That's okay. I saw a creepy clown. Ooh, those eyes. Yeah, we definitely work in a visual medium. So anything that you can use any visuals that you can use when you're presenting when you're pitching to investors or other film industry professionals or distribution companies, or just anybody that can make something happen for your project. Visuals work extremely well. That's, a combination of, pitch decks, concept art, a movie poster. And I think one of the issues us as collectively as independent filmmakers, we try to bite off more than we can chew right at the beginning. One of the things I started learning and implementing was like, you have to do it in small increments. If you can't afford a few $1,000s to have, your script broken down, a pitch deck, a business plan, start very small. Start with one item that you can afford and use that to build momentum to reach your next financial milestone, and continue the domino effect. Joe, obviously, a lot of people are having a lot of success, either promoting their stuff on YouTube. This is one thing to keep in mind. Facebook is going toe to toe with YouTube right now. Like, they're promoting a new channel called Facebook Watch. There's a couple of web content on Facebook Watch right now. Gary Vanderchuk, who's a prominent social media figure. And there's a new horror show called Crypt TV. You're not seeing anybody's comments? Hold on. Oh. I can see people's... Hold on, let me go to the actual page. Give me 1 second, let me see... Film Funding Group. Yeah, it's actually kind of weird. I just noticed that I can't see anybody's. I can only see the last 4 postings from Joe and from Angela. Give me a few seconds, guys. Let me see if I can figure something out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I posted live comments. Do you mind posting something really quick? Just a quick hello or copy. Let me see if it comes up. Test. Joe, back to your question. Let me see. I'm just listening at the moment. Joe. So Joe wants to know how he can break into the film industry. I've been in the film industry going almost 15 years. So this was pre-smartphone, pre-internet. I mean, there was like some lingering murmur that there was this thing called, internet, and that, was going to change the world, but it was really, really early. I did it the old-fashioned way, man. I'm actually a theater major, and I was doing a lot of acting back in my early 20s. And a colleague of mine who got into he became a production assistant on this feature film. He gave me a call. He was working on a Target commercial with one of the Hughes brothers. They're the guys that directed Menace to Society and From Hell with Johnny Depp. He gave me a call like, hey, we need an extra production assistant. Do you want to come in? And like, I think the rate back then was like $100 or something like that. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I got there. The second AD told me, just follow the director and just do what he wants. I'm like, okay, cool. And it was a really, like, my first job in the industry was on a multi-million-dollar Target commercial, and you saw all the bells and whistles, full crew, working with a prominent director. So it was a really, really great, and I live in South Texas, so I'm not in LA or Chicago or New York or or Miami or any other prominent location. So having that opportunity, as your first job is a really great introduction. But that being said, I mean, people are being followed. Excuse me, people are making deals out of just web content. Having something that actually gets a lot of momentum, a lot of views on YouTube. Reddit's another place that your content could go viral, and all it really takes is the right person to look at your content, man. And if it resonates with them, I don't know if you want to make this feature film into some kind of web series. I think that platform will work really, really well. And obviously start accumulating that that fan base. Carl, don't be shy. Just feel free to jump in. You mind sharing your production experience, Carl? Let me go to your profile real quick. Carl. Cool, Joe. Will do. Absolutely. I'll give you a ring. And call. As far as production work, do you mind sharing what exactly you do? And at least from my experience, I went from I definitely did the um. Okay, cool. Props. Awesome. Yeah, I did. I started off. I would say about 3 years as a production assistant. Another 3 years as a grip, and then I got into the AD department for about 5 years, and that naturally got me into UPM and line producing, because after that you start building these relationships with gaffers, DPs, and other crew members, so you have a general idea what their daily rate is. But yeah, I'm definitely fortunate enough to have gone through that whole process, to really learn what it's like to be on the set, to really start gravitating to something that I was. I mean, like any other filmmaker, right? We it's either you want to be a DP, a director, or a screenwriter, or a producer, but nobody wants to do the nerdy stuff. Nobody wants to do the the actual work, as far as like what it takes to to fund films, all the pre-production stuff that you have to do, that sometimes you're not going to get paid for, whether it's a budget, whether it's a business plan or a pitch deck, or the months that nobody sees when you're building up your project. Yeah, I love set department, man. It's usually a really cool group of people. A lot of hippies in the prop department. Awesome. Do you do any TV, Carl? Are you actually have you worked with the studio system? I guess that's a better question. Yeah, when you're first starting off, man, you got to do a little bit of everything, and to survive in this industry, you kind of have to do that stuff. But at the end of the day, when you start specializing in one specific department, that's when your career can definitely elevate. So you actually did work with this within the studio system. As I mentioned, I'm in South Texas, so we've there's a lot of national and regional commercials that are shot in South Texas. So I worked with a lot of top advertising agencies as a crew member. I still haven't worked in the studio system. It's all been independent or all through advertisement agencies that hire production companies to shoot these commercials and stuff like that. But as far as I would say, probably shot over 100 commercials, and that's not that's whether it was a PA or grip or in the AD department, probably over 100 commercials. Combination of regional, national, and obviously local as well. Yeah, the studio system is obviously totally different platform. It's a totally different structure when you're like if you want to, I guess, skip the middleman as far as like pitching to investors. You pitch directly to the studios or the networks, and that's usually through a screenplay, or a partnership between a director and a screenwriter. But definitely the screenwriter has a lot of leverage through the studio system. And Carl, feel free to share any of your content, with the community. I would love to see your work. Cool. Yeah, it's a huge transition. I'm assuming that going from the studio system to the independent world system. Obviously, as an independent, producer, you have a lot more creative. Leeway, to produce your content, and like I said, I personally don't have studio experience, so I don't know what that entails as far as how much control or input the studios have with directors and screenwriters and producers. How much they control the angle that the filmmaker's trying to go with their specific project. All right, guys. I definitely want to give you guys a heads up. In the next coming weeks, I am going to be interviewing some amazing filmmakers and specifically discussing how they went from pitching their project to funding their project. This specific group is 100% focused on getting money raised for your film. That's whether it's a combination of crowdfunding, whether it's product placement, whether it's yeah, absolutely. Business plans, or whether it's equity or hedge funds, all that stuff is going to be discussed in the next coming weeks as I talk and interview with some amazing filmmakers. As obviously, everybody has to share their um, I think, well, you know what, Joe, before you do that, let's have that discussion later on today, and we'll discuss that, man. Because I think you have, based on the trailer that I watched, there's definitely companies that focus on that specific genre as well. But yeah, definitely keep I'm gonna try to be, I'm gonna try to do at least 2 to 3 broadcasts a week, and as this group continues to build momentum, I'm really going to focus on interviewing some amazing filmmakers and have them share, any insight, any guidelines that they use to accomplish their financial goals. Because at the end of the day, it's you can have an idea for an amazing screenplay, but if it's not properly funded, you're going to be it's just going to be there. It's going to sit in the shelf. And that's going to be an unfortunate thing to happen to somebody that, whether you spend a year or 2 years, working on your screenplay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll talk soon. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.